Hey everybody, welcome to Song Tripping. Today I want to do a quick feature about Jackie Gleason Presents Lonesome Echo. This is a 1955 album in the easy listening mood music genre. I discovered it not so long ago and I wanted to share my thoughts about it and some interesting trivia. This is not my first Jackie Gleason album. I have a few other ones on vinyl. This one, Merry Christmas by Jackie Gleason, an absolute Christmas classic. Not one I grew up with, but one I discovered in adulthood. And I want to do a full-blown review of this, of the vinyl and CD. There's also Music, Martinis, and Memories. Jackie Gleason put out dozens of these albums, and they also often have evocative cover art. And here's another one. These are all like dollar bin finds. Music to Make You Misty. Right? So recently I was getting into easy listening thanks to some CD discoveries that I want to share with you. So there's a series on Time Life called Instrumental Favorites. So here's the Jackie Gleason compilation. I found 4 of these. All of these were for $1. Here's Percy Faith, and these are like best of compilations on the Time Life label. All of them mastered by Dennis Drake. Here's Pop Pleasures. This is a various artists. This might be a good one to start with because it's you get a variety of instrumental bands, and then the single artist ones like Nelson Riddle here. All of these sound phenomenal. All of them are mastered by Dennis Drake, who, if you see his name in the liner notes as having remastered something, you probably to give it a listen. You might really like it. I tend to really like his stuff. Anyway, so back to Lonesome Echo. Let's get set up here on our album cam. And you've got... this was an interesting album by Jackie Gleason. So what he tended to do with his music, and we don't know how much he really was involved in these projects. Like, a lot of people think he just lent his name. It's a brand. And he didn't have much involvement at all because, number one, he couldn't read music. He wasn't really a conductor or an arranger. But other sources will tell you that he was somewhat involved and that he was maybe setting the tone for an album, coming up with a concept, and then he would delegate to a seasoned musician to take care of the rest. So who knows? But anyway, we'll just assume it's Jackie Gleason and go from there. He started making these albums in the 50s. We would classify this as mood music. So your typical Jackie Gleason album, it's almost totally instrumental. There might be some background vocals on there, but it's certainly easy listening. But I think the better term is mood music. So these do tend to be written around a concept. And then what he'll do is there'll be often one solo instrumental artist will be featured, right? So on this album, the featured instrument is an oboe, and it's called an oboe d'amour. And it's a sort of a, I think it's like a larger oboe. And it's rarely used, but it's got, it doesn't sound, it's on a sort of a softer, mellower, more romantic sounding oboe than your typical oboe. But anyway, so the oboe is usually sort of playing the lead role here, and then you just have the band and the orchestra is sort of padded around that. Okay, so that's interesting. Let's go through a track list of sides A and B. So lots of standards here. You've got There Must Be a Way. You've got I Don't Know Why, I Just Do, Deep Purple, Mad About the Boy, Someday I'll Find You, Come Rain or Come Shine, The Thrill Is Gone, I Wished on the Moon, How Deep is the Ocean, Remember, Speak Low, I Still Get a Thrill, Darling, Je Vous Aime Beaucoup, I'm Always Chasing Rainbows, Garden in the Rain, and Dancing on the Ceiling. So the theme for this album is, I guess, loneliness, isolation, a kind of poignant, pensive vibe here. So this is a music. Imagine like someone who would be into this type of music would be, they'd come home from work after a long, tiring day, and they just want to chill out to some warm and vexing mood music. And this is the nerve that Jackie Gleason struck on these albums. I haven't listened to them all, but this may be one of his better efforts. It's certainly evocative, and that oboe d'amour is really pretty interesting. The solos, by the way, I don't think this artist is credited on the liner notes, but the man playing the oboe is Romeo Panque, or Penque, probably pronouncing that wrong. Anyway, album comes out in 1955 on Capitol Records. Catalog number is W627, if you're keeping score, W627. But what is perhaps most remarkable about this is right here. The cover was made by the surrealist artist Salvador Dali. Okay, that caught my attention right away. I may have discovered this in the liner notes to the CD compilation. I did a double take and I said, wait, what? What? Jackie Gleason and Salvador Dali? And then you look at the back cover and there they are shaking hands. I was just astonished, gobsmacked. Okay, you don't typically put easy listening music alongside 20th century surrealist art. Not only did Salvador Dali do the liner notes, he left a little tidbit on the back cover here. So he says on this note, the first effect, he's talking about the cover art he made, the first effect is that of anguish, of space, and of solitude. Let's look at the artwork as he describes it. The first effect is that of anguish, of space, and of solitude. Secondly, the fragility of the wings of a butterfly, projecting long shadows of late afternoon, reverberates in the landscape like an echo. The feminine element, distant and isolated, forms a perfect triangle with the music instruments and its other echo, the shell. So there he is interpreting the different elements in this. There is a sort of sparseness, a lot of open space in the image. And it reminds me of the Chirico, I think is how you say it, another modern artist who has similar types of paintings. But wow, I like the cover art a lot. It's really cool. I just wouldn't have combined Jackie Gleason with Salvador Dali. They may have been friends and drinking partners. Who knows? I know Jackie was a pretty social guy in the bar scene. But anyway, the more I thought about it, the more I realized, mood music, like Jackie Gleason would produce, is pretty darn surreal. And when you listen to an album like Merry Christmas, this one, and I hope to do a review of that, that's a pretty surreal Christmas album in a lot of ways too. So maybe this isn't as odd of a partnership as I had first thought. There is something sort of bizarre about easy listening and mood music. Bizarre in a good way. Like, okay, it's square. Yes, yes, it can be vapid. Yes, it's elevator music, Muzak. I know all the stereotypes, but if you set yourself in the right mood, uh, there is something evocative about this music. It is like wallpaper. It is sort of lurking there in the background, but it swims around in your consciousness. And if you haven't listened to Jackie Gleason Presents Lonesome Echo, give it a try. You can listen to it on the streaming channels. This album didn't cost me much. It was um, $4. I paid for it in store credit, and it they knew what they were selling because a little note on the price tag said Dali cover. So this is the infamous album. But this was a popular album in the 50s. It peaked at #1 and remained on the chart for 23 weeks, starting in June of 1955. So at least in the 50s, people were really connecting with stuff like this. But I just think it's a curiosity, and it might, if you're a collector, you might want to get it just for the cover. Let's take a look at the vinyl. You've got that gray capital label there. Of course, this is in mono. And this was a nice clean copy. It sounded great. The CD version, not the CD version, but the version I listened to on Tidal in CD quality also sounded phenomenal. So that's going to do it for a quick rundown of Jackie Gleason, Lonesome Echo. Check it out if you get a chance, and let me know what you think of this album and Jackie Gleason's music in particular, and if you can clear up any of the details about how much Jackie Gleason participated in any of this, please do so in the comments. I hope you liked the video, and I hope you'll become a subscriber. Thanks a lot. Bye-bye.